Our top focus on WION at this hour. The United States is reportedly close to finalizing an interim agreement with Iran and Oman to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Now, according to Axios, the U.S. aims to announce the deal on Wednesday, following claims by a top American official that an agreement could be struck within days. The proposed Iran-Oman deal outlines a temporary 60-day arrangement with the option for an extension. All vessels entering the Persian Gulf will travel through a northern corridor in Iranian territorial waters. All vessels exiting into the Arabian Sea will travel through a southern corridor in Omani territorial waters, coordinated with Iran. No tolls or service fees will be levied during the initial 60-day window. Now, Iran and Oman will also collaborate to clear naval mines from the strait's median lane within 30 days. Once cleared, this middle corridor will open to two-way traffic under a permanent bilateral agreement to be negotiated between Tehran and Muscat. The emerging deal would meet some of Iran's demands for greater control over the traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. Our sources said that the White House was actively involved in the negotiations, an assertion which is denied publicly by Iran. Reports said that in recent days there were several calls between Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, and Omani Foreign Minister Badr al-Busaidi. Earlier speaking to CNBC, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said, and I'm quoting him here, "There is a chance we may have a deal in the coming hours." Now, his claims echoed President Donald Trump. However, Iran has denied negotiations with Washington even as Trump insisted that they were happening.
We've seen President Trump last week threatened what would have been one of the largest military campaigns, or the largest military campaign since World War II, against the Iranians. And now we are, because of that, we are in talks with the Iranians. And I think there is a chance we may have a deal today or tomorrow to open the strait and move towards a more normalized position in this conflict.
But observers remain apprehensive. Just 3 weeks ago, a similar deal was expected. But instead, Iran resumed attacks on ships, which led to 2 weeks of fighting and almost an all-out war. Even if a deal is announced, questions will remain over the longevity of any agreement. Now, remember back in June, U.S. and Iran had reached a 14-point framework agreement, which provided for the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz to commercial shipping toll-free for 60 days. But the agreement signed on June 17th effectively lasted for just over 20 days. Fighting reignited in the first week of July, and on the 8th of July 2026, after Iran struck multiple commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz, and the U.S. responded by striking Iranian territory. President Trump indicated that the MOU was over. On 18th of July, Iran officially announced the suspension of commitments related to the framework. The Strait of Hormuz, a critical conduit for global oil and gas, remains the flashpoint of the current conflict. Tehran is seeking to assert control over the passage and impose transit tolls, a move fiercely opposed by Washington. Maritime traffic through the chokepoint remains severely disrupted, with only 22 vessels reportedly transiting on August 3rd, half of which were operating dark without tracking data. We earlier spoke to Dr. Hamid Reza Ghulamzadeh from Tehran. He is the Secretary General of the Asian Mayors Forum, and this is what he had to say. Let's listen in.
The point is that the most important issue is the Strait of Hormuz, and this issue should be resolved between Iran and Oman, which are the two countries on the two sides of the waterway. The problem is that the Americans are interfering into the issue, and they do not allow Oman to reach an agreement with Iran. Iran says that as a neighboring country to the Strait of Hormuz, it needs to make sure that its interests are saved and its security is not threatened. And it is, according to the international law, that every country has the right to maintain its security and to make sure that there is no threat against that. So with that, the traffic in the Strait of Hormuz needs to be in a way that Iran could have a control over that, to make sure that there would not be further threats